Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
Baltimore police now blocking FBI from investigating murder of cop set to testify against fellow cops. The Baltimore Police Department is refusing help from the FBI in the case of an officer who was murdered one day before he was set to testify against them. By John Vibes, November 30, 2017. Baltimore MD. In recent weeks, the Free Thought Project has been keeping a close eye on the developing case of a whistleblower with the Baltimore Police Department named Sean Suiter, who was shot with his own gun the day before he was set to testify against corrupt cops within his own department. Unlike most other shootings where police are the victims, no one has been arrested and there is no suspect to speak of. In fact, this is the only time in the history of Baltimore that a suspect in the shooting of a police officer has gone this long uncaptured. With each day that passes, more suspicious details are uncovered which cast doubt on the official narrative that has been given by the police department since the shooting and brings suspicion upon the department itself. Not only was Suiter set to testify in a massive corruptions case the day after his shooting, but his partner was off work that day, and the commissioner lied about this important detail in a press conference where he revealed the details of the case to the media. The man who filled in as Suiter's partner on the day of his death is Facebook friends with one of the officers who is facing conviction. Advertisement. On Wednesday, Congressman Elijah E. Cummings asked the director of the FBI to make the Suiter investigation one of their top priorities. I asked him that they use every resource available and do everything in their power to assist the Baltimore police in this investigation and make it a top priority, Cummings said. Read more. Cop kicks handcuffed man in the chest while fellow cops do nothing to stop him. With the killer of a police officer on the loose for weeks and a population beginning to doubt the official word from the police department, you would think that they would be happy to bring in other agencies to help them wrap up the case, or at least prove that their hands are clean and that there is no cover-up. However, as reported by WBAL-TV, the Baltimore Police Department is not allowing the FBI to assist them in the investigation. Department spokesman T.J. Smith said they will not be allowing any other agencies to interfere with their investigation. The Baltimore Police Department handles murder investigations, and the Baltimore Police Department will continue to handle this investigation, Smith said. The department's refusal to allow another set of eyes on the case has even drawn criticism from the state's governor, Larry Hogan, who told reporters that, "I have a lot of confidence in the police commissioner Kevin Davis in Baltimore, but at some point, the more eyes we have on this, the better." According to federal law, the FBI is allowed to take over cases from police departments when the death of an officer is involved, but they must receive permission from the city's police commissioner, and it does not look like that will be granted anytime soon. This is the longest that a manhunt for the killer of a Baltimore police officer has gone on without an arrest or viable suspect. Previously, the record was held by a suspect who fled to Oklahoma over 50 years ago, before the introduction of Big Brother cameras and tracking technology, and he was caught in just 5 days. Cop killers do not get away with murder in Baltimore, but everyone else seems to. The homicide clearance rate for civilians is abysmally low, with barely a quarter of the city's killings being solved. Read more. Taste of their own medicine. Police chief's home raided by accident. Baltimore police have a reputation for using strong-arm mafioso tactics to intimidate fellow officers out of turning on the gang. As we reported back in 2014, Baltimore detective Joe Crystal became a target of intimidation for his entire department after testifying against other officers in a misconduct case. Following his testimony, he received threats from other officers and even found a dead rat on his car one day. For a history of how corrupt, violent, and deadly Baltimore cops are, take a look at our archives here.
Let's go to Baltimore, where the search continues for the killer of Detective Sean Suiter, an 18-year veteran of the force, married father of 5. Suiter was shot with his own gun on November 15th after approaching a man behaving suspiciously in the Harlem Park section of Baltimore. Suter died the next day. 1 week after Suter's death, on Thanksgiving Eve, the Baltimore Police Commissioner revealed Detective Suter was scheduled to testify before a federal grand jury in the corruption case against fellow police officers indicted for stealing money, property, and drugs. Now, it's unclear whether Suter's testimony would have helped or hurt the officers, but Police Commissioner Kevin Davis stressed that there is currently no evidence to suggest that Suter's killing was linked to his upcoming testimony, and went on to praise Detective Suter for being an upstanding member of the force.
There is no information that has been communicated to me that Detective Suter was anything other than a stellar detective, great friend, loving husband, and dedicated father.
Now, there's a reward of $215,000 for information leading to the arrest of Suter's killer. Let's go to our panel: Eugene Craig, Laura Victoria Burke, Malik Boyd. Now, after this shooting, I mean, literally, that community was locked down.
Yeah, I mean, it was a total violation of people's civil liberties and civil rights. You know, folk had to have a special pass to get in out the community, you know, or forcing ID checks. I mean, it was literally...
They had ID checks on the streets.
Yeah, there were ID checks on, I mean, it was literally a police state. I mean, if you've ever seen one. And, I mean, look, this isn't the first time a detective has been murdered. It's not the first time an officer, you know, been slain while on duty. But, I mean, the facts of this case just, you know, they smell rotten. You mean to tell me that an 18-year veteran of one of the craziest police forces in one of the craziest cities in America, literally, you know, was disarmed, was murdered by his own weapon, and in a city where streets that actually do talk? Let's go back to the Stop Snitching campaign. You mean to tell me nobody saw it? None of the hundreds of cameras you have in the city caught it, and you literally have no leads in this case? I don't believe it. I mean, yeah, I think there is a direct connection where you have a detective who's a quote-unquote stellar detective, you know, getting ready to testify against officers who are literally corrupt and were federally indicted on stealing drugs, stealing money, and stealing property, murdered the day before. And where's the FOP on this?
And of course, precisely.
Yeah, all of a sudden there's silence from FOP. Yeah, it's
Blue Lives Matter?
Amazing coincidence that the cop who's going to testify against other cops just happens to be the cop that gets killed on the streets. And typically in a city, well, obviously when a cop gets killed, it's more than just a small, it's huge. It's a manhunt, it's a dragnet. It's about as coincidental as John Conyers' settlement file being leaked. Out of all those settlement files, it's an amazing coincidence that happened. So clearly something's up here. We'll probably never get to the bottom of it because the people who are doing the investigation or who exactly?
Where's Gene Ryan and the Baltimore FOP? Where's the Blue Lives Matter crowd? Where's Sheriff Clark on this?
Silence.
You know, where are you guys? Come on, where are you guys? Let's get some honesty on this.
Amazing.
Get some honesty out of this force.
This whole thing is it stinks. It smells like an outhouse, right? So I reported last week about the Baltimore police officers who were shipping drugs up to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia officers selling it, right? And now we have a case where literally we just witnessed a contract killing. That's literally what that is. Whenever, you know, an officer gets killed with his own gun, shutting down the ballistics, basically leaving no trace on the street, right? It just says that Baltimore has some serious changes to do, and I think FOP needs to stand up and start.
When the officers in the Freddie Gray situation were on trial, Gene Ryan was out there every single day. So as somebody that lives in Baltimore, somebody that, you know, spends money in Baltimore, where's Gene Ryan and the Blue Lives Matter crowd when it comes to Officer Detective Suter's death? You guys need to be out there daily. Get your cameras out there. Force answers. Figure out who killed this guy. Bring them to justice if you want to prove to the world that Blue Lives Matter actually do matter.
So is this an example of what happens when you actually cross the blue line?
Oh, no. Look, and again, I'm sure there are people out there who are saying, oh, my God, you're jumping to conclusions. But you cannot try to convince me. Like, here's the other question. Where was his partner?
There you go.
Well, apparently, you know, it was the partner that he was with that day was not his normal partner, from what I've heard.
Okay, where was his not normal partner?
Right.
That's a good question.
Right.
How was this guy accosted in an alley or whatever? I mean, one of the stories I heard that he heard a noise down the alley and he began to walk down the alley. Where's the partner?
I think that's one of the many questions. I mean, I would take it a step further. Why was it this high-value witness that's getting ready to testify before a grand jury against the officers that he literally served with, not under federal protection?
Right.
I mean, there are so many.
You know, DOJ is not going to do anything about this.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is the
I mean, that's
DOJ
one thing
that
that
said,
we
hey,
can
consent
count
decree
on.
out the window. We don't need that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
You know, there's no such thing as police brutality in Baltimore. But the thing is this, there are so many breakdowns in government, so many breakdowns in the justice system. And this guy lost his life. It's an absolute tragedy.
Here's the thing. This is something that erodes the public's trust in the process, right? So you see a man who has, basically upheld the law, right, and used the shield to protect the citizens, and he gets taken out in a contract killing.
Yeah.
What does that say to the streets?
And here, now, according to the Baltimore Sun, that Suter and another homicide detective, who police have declined to identify, visited the 900 block of Bennett Place to investigate a triple homicide that took place last December. They were wearing suits and badges, canvassing the information. They were not wearing body cameras. 20 minutes before the shooting, Suter and his partner observed someone engaged in suspicious activity who police believe is the shooter. And they won't say what this suspicious activity is. The officers left the area after the first observation without engaging the person, but then they came back. It took place in a vacant lot next to 959 Bennett Place. They said there was a brief transmission from Suter's radio. The apparent sound of gunfire can be heard. Police said there were signs of a violent struggle. The signs of a physical struggle on Detective Suter's clothing are evident to us. The struggle was brief. It's a matter of several seconds. He was shot once in the head, close range, with his service weapon. 3 shots were fired from Suter's service weapon. His gun was recovered. No other weapons were fired or found. Now, again, I'm just trying to understand, where's your partner? And it says Suter's, we have body-worn camera footage from responding officers. Detective Suter's radio never left his left hand. Davis said on November 16th that the partner was, quote, in the immediate vicinity of the shooting. On November 22nd, he said the partner is seen on private surveillance tape seeking cover across the street when the gunfire rang out. Upon the sound of gunfire, Detective Suter's partner sought cover across the street.
So this is crazy. This is crazy. So I have a couple questions.
So you heard gunshots and your partner.
Your partner. You said, okay, I'm out.
You take cover across the street.
You said, we gone.
Okay, all right. Okay.
So in essence, the first responder.
The first responder said, look, it's not up to me,
also
bro.
the partner did
It's
not
on
have
you.
his radio with him. He called 911 from his cell phone.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
So, but my thing is this, all right? This is, I think there's a very glaring fact in that article that I think folks should take a look at. So if the police department said that there was a struggle that probably lasted a couple seconds, who gave you that fact? Who saw that there was a struggle that lasted a couple seconds?
How do you know that?
How do you know that? And, I mean, be honest, how do you know that? In this time span, with all this going on between the struggle and the shots ringing out, how did the partner have time to get across the street and away from his partner? If you guys are investigating somebody suspicious together, that's what it says,
Folks, I'll give this information. The viewing for Suter's, his viewing will take place today and tomorrow at Vaughn Green Funeral Services in Randallstown. His funeral will be Wednesday at Mount Pleasant Church at 11 a.m.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no.
That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong. He
Unfiltered.
wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
News One Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of your news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago. And so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheep up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me, and I'm sick of it. So I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if some, if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave a, let's say, actually, yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But, do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it, 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt-free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.